Adler. Sending it on your way. Neutral, neutral, neutral. Easy.
What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at yet another iteration of Ethan gets dropped and tries to figure out what the heck he did wrong and what he could have done better. Today we're looking at the National Road Race, however, the Collegiate one. This is the club road race racing for OSU. There's about 70 people in the field, same course as the Masters 2022 road and crit. It starts at about 6,200 feet of elevation, climbs up over 7,000. It was 63 miles, and the main feature was this climb that we'll get to in a little bit. It was about 2 miles at a pretty gentle 4 or 5%, very fast, didn't really feel like a climb, before kicking up to the aptly named Heartbreak, where it was about a kilometer, I would guess, of 14-ish%, and at the elevation of the heat today is about 85 degrees. It was a heartbreak for sure. Definitely very hard, and we knew that there were some people here who were planning on drilling it, and so our idea was stay near the front, especially heading into that climb, so that way if we lost a few places we would still be in contact going over. And part of the reason for that thought process was there was about 3 or so miles of descending afterwards, so we knew if we were all together that we'd have time to recover because it was a non-technical, pretty smooth descent. Other than that, there was quite a bit of wind, and we knew that heading into the finishing straight, the last like 10-ish miles could have been a headwind. There's also chip seal, so it was not very fast. So even though we all knew what was going to happen on the climb, there was a little bit of anticipation where, you know, a late move could go, or even an early move during those other sections, because they weren't super easy. But anyways, let's get jumping into where that climb was so you guys can take a look at the kind of power that we were putting out and see the pain cave that I was in. Alright, so we just made this right hand turn, a couple miles into the course now. It's been very fast. We had a tailwind, we were just flying down that descent. And we've been climbing for about 1.5 miles now, and so we're heading into the feed zone. That's right after the right hand turn, and after that is where the actual steep part of the climb started. So throughout this, especially the first time, it was pretty slow. I was pretty far back, so I knew I was going to have to want to move up here. The wind's coming from the right here, and also you'll notice this is the only time that I have like power heart rate data. The reason for that is the editing software that I use, Dashware, was being really weird, and all the other videos wouldn't, they like flip in GoPro, and I couldn't get them to flip back over no matter what I tried. So I finally gave up because it's been a week now and I want to get this video out. So here we are. I'm trying to move up the side here following this guy, but we're hitting some pretty big watts. You see my heart rate is super high, and that was the big thing that I noticed for this. Was we came in on a Thursday around midnight, and this is Saturday morning, afternoon, about 1 o'clock, and it was hot and high elevation, and I felt like my heart rate is probably about 20 beats higher than it should have been for any given power. Throughout the whole race, I probably averaged like 175 beats per minute, which is pretty high for me. So here we are, getting ready to head into this climb. You see I'm coming up, but I don't really hold this position very well. And so here we are, just like a minute or two later, and you can see the climb just like looming out of the distance when you're approaching it, and you just know it's gonna suck. So as you can see, I lost quite a few positions again, and I'm trying to come back up, but we are not the only people trying to do this, right? There's a lot of people here, like I said, about 70 starters, and yeah, I mean, I'll just let it speak for itself here. It starts getting really steep really fast, and people start going backwards, already standing up. I was in my absolute lowest gear, just grinding. Also, I had a creaky bottom bracket that sucked because you can maybe hear it a little bit. Yeah, I just had to listen. That nice little metronome though keeps me in the zone. So it's like this for about 4 minutes, I want to say. It feels like forever. But let's just jump ahead to the end of the climb so you guys kind of see what it's like. So this is almost exactly 2 minutes later. We're still going up the climb, exact same thing. So we're doing about 7 miles an hour, and this is why I wanted to be near the front, which I did not really do, is because I'm starting to go backwards a little bit, but more importantly, the people right in front of me are starting to go backwards. And what that means is that if there's a gap over the top, those people at the front are probably feeling pretty good, and they might accelerate over the top. And if we have a bunch of tired people in our back who are not feeling as good, that gap's just going to blow up exponentially as none of us can take pulls. And you'll see a little bit of panic here. Heart rate's 204. I used to think my max was 202, but I've been hitting 204 pretty often, so I think it's about 206 now. But even just trying to do a little bit more, just a couple more seconds, and I know I'll have some reprieve here. Well, 207 there, so who knows? Anyways, not important. But yeah, so this lap was pretty much exactly what we expected. After this, it stayed kind of echeloned out in the winds and was pretty smooth. Definitely just struggling to get the heart rate down. And when we hit that chip seal, once again, like, it was deceptive because we were going like 17, 18 on the flats, but it just was like extremely hard. It felt like we were going up like 4%. But let's skip ahead to hitting the climb the second time so you can see where everything went terribly wrong for me. And so here we are at the base getting ready to head into that feed zone. People are doing the inexplicable. They are attacking through the feed zone. I also had nothing left at this point already. Like I said, I just couldn't get my heart rate down. I felt terrible. I don't do very well in the heat, especially since I went from like 60 degrees to this. But I knew I just had to keep my effort as smooth as possible. So a lot of people tried to go with the front groups that attacked. I just paced myself here a little bit easier than the first time up. And you see right around here, I'm like starting to claw it back. I saw some people coming backwards, and I was like, oh, maybe. Unfortunately, this climb was just a little bit too hard for me. I couldn't quite find it in me, but I think this time I'm going to speed ahead so you guys can actually see the full climb just without any commentary. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me pant like a dog. But right here was another critical moment, and I think this is where I really let the race go. I genuinely don't think I had anything to respond to this, but I saw this guy go, and I don't know if you can tell, he is a big guy. He's probably, well, I actually know for a fact he's over 200 pounds because he was talking about it before the base of this climb. But I knew he was incredibly strong, and I figured that was my chance to make sure that I was able to get back onto the back of the group. Same with this Florida State guy. I am assuming it was Florida State. He had like 3 letters on his jersey. But we're coming over the crest here, and they're accelerating. I was like, man, I just need to get up to them. But then they go, and I try. I really do. But I just had nothing left. I know I keep saying that, and that's just how I felt. So I watched them slip away, and never to be seen again. What ended up happening for the rest of this race was pretty simple. I caught a couple guys on the descent, and then we made a little group of like 4 people. Then it became 8 people, and we kind of group headed it in, just taking smooth pulls, trying to save the legs for the crit, which will be my next video. The crit was the following day. It was going to be 80 minutes, so I thought maybe I still have a shot with that. This was a little bit hard, and I figured if I could just keep it smooth tomorrow, it would work pretty well. And so here's my little group here. There's still 3 of us at this point. Nothing special. Unfortunately, there was a crash there. Not really sure what happened. And talking to other riders, it sounds like they just guttered each other. You can hear us talking about it a little bit. Both laps, it was kind of like, I don't know, it was really a lot of guttering happening during non-critical parts of the race, which I've seen that happen. That happened in the race this last weekend for me, where it feels like sometimes people are fighting for position when they don't have to, and maybe that's just me being inexperienced. But during non-critical parts of the races, I think there are more important things. None of us are getting paid, so let's just try to stay safe, keep a rubber side up, especially at a big event like this. Like, no one wants to go down and like have their experience tainted by such a terrible thing to have happen. Anyways, though, we keep going like this, finish it off. They sprinted for the finish. I did not, because I thought I still had a shot the next day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys thought about this one. Sorry I didn't get much other than the climb in the video, but overall it was a really good experience. Definitely unlike anything I've ever had, and I'm super thankful to have had that experience, because it's not something I ever thought I would have. I pretty much gave up racing a couple years ago on running, and then I found bikes, found a lot of friends. I somehow got stuck into the cycling club this year, and boom, here we are at the national scene. Biggest race I've ever done, hardest race I've ever done, and just the coolest overall experience. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Gotta plug it right there. Sorry, y'all. Anyways, catch y'all on the crit video. See ya.